Hi, my beautiful lovelies. Welcome back to my memoirs and a fresh page from my diary. I call this my tree of thought. I usually find myself seated out here whenever I'm relaxing, when I'm anxious, when I'm tensed, when I don't know what to do, when I know what to do, when I'm planning. This is my favorite spot. Don't mind the chair. Doesn't have a leg. So that's why I usually put it on those two tires. It's very comfortable. So I've sat here quite a couple of times, and I usually think to myself, the biggest problems, or rather the biggest problem that we have here, which interferes much with the off-grid farming life, are cows and goats, the animals that pass through or pass by our shamba, especially when we have planted. My green maize is doing quite well. It grew widely, as I told you from my last video. So I've been wanting to plant. Okay, apart from other issues, that is one thing that really stresses me. The fact that my land or our shamba is very open. So anything or anyone can come through it from whichever angle. That really has me in a spot where I can't really seem to get myself out of. So of late I've been thinking about fencing options, cheap fencing options. But with maize, maize, I'm thinking of a big parcel to plant the maize. And so if it's a bigger patch, then that means I will require more material, which will raise the expenses. So this funny wild thought came to my mind, and I was thinking, when I sit here, I see these trees, these shrubs. Let me show you. I see these shrubs. They're very thorny, very, very thorny. We usually try to avoid them in as much as possible. And when I see them, I go like, is there a way someone can transplant shrubs the same way? The other day Kazungu brought me a banana plant, which actually died off. If you remember, it was behind the bathroom. There is a bathroom. If you remember the tree, it died off because of drought. But when it came, it was quite big, and it was transplanted. So in my mind, I'm thinking, is there a way you can transplant shrubs? Like this one is also very nice for boundaries and fencing because it's thorny. Well, maybe because they are very thorny, it's going to be a bit hard to pluck them off from here and then move them all along to the boundary or the borders. But what if I don't use the thorny ones and I use these ones instead? Remember the last time you saw this place? This place was very dry. Nothing was growing here, especially after the fire that we had. But with just a few days, or rather weeks of rain, everything has changed and everything is so green and flourishing. So I was asking myself, is there a way that someone could take a tiny shrub, for example, let me try and get through here. For example, this one hasn't grown that much. For example, this one. Is there a way I can uproot this or that one and just go plant them along the border? That is where my border is, and just create some sort of boundary where these cows and cattle and goats can't pass through when I've already done my maize and my vegetables and all that. I know it sounds weird, but I'm just thinking out loud, because when you think of putting up a fence, we are not talking small money, and it's quite a waste that you have all this land and you have all that rain, but you can't make use of it just because you're scared of some goats. And last time I got into so much stress because of them, and honestly I don't want a repeat of that come this time. The rains are still coming and I haven't done much because I'm still contemplating. I'm still asking myself if this is really a good idea or not. Yeah, so it's just something I haven't really researched on it. I was thinking of doing that. It is a much more cheaper way of, doing some boundary, some sort of protection for the crops, rather than spending, because finances not that good, and I do want to break the bank because of that, because I have other pending issues that I need to work on. But either way, as I research, in as much as it sounds like a crazy idea, but as I research on it, and as I see if that can work, yeah, let me share with you. Let me put it up in my memoirs so that I'll see if I'll act on it. Can look back and see where I was at this point of time in my life. Yeah, so that's it actually. Just wanted to do a mental dump. And yeah, I'll do some research and then I'll share what I'll find. Probably it's a solution that I don't know. Let's see how that goes. So yeah, thanks for listening to me and see you in the next one. Bye.